In the third movie, Ethan has retired from IMF fieldwork. He has a stable life with his fiancée Julia, especially who is unaware of his real job. She just thought he was something related to traffic. At Ethan and Julia's engagement party, John Musgrave, the assistant director of the IMF, contacted him to suggest him about a new mission. Ethan received a camera that contained a video of his mission to rescue an IMF agent, Lindsay Ferris, who is one of his protégés from a notorious arms dealer Owen Davian. Normally, when agents are in life danger like Lindsay, the IMF will completely deny responsibility related to that person, but Lindsay may have information about Davian, who the IMF has been following for a long time, so this rescue operation was formed. Musgrave prepared a team for Ethan including Declan, Jen and a familiar friend of his, hacker Luther. The group gathered and began the operation to rescue Lindsay in Berlin. With good coordination and extremely modern technology, the group saved Lindsay and collected 2 laptops containing information about Davian. However, after boarding the helicopter, Ethan discovered that Lindsay had an explosive pellet implanted in her head and it exploded before Ethan could do anything. Upon returning to the base, IMF Director Brassel reprimanded Ethan and Musgrave for their failure, and they still could not find any information regarding the arms dealer. After Lindsay's funeral, Ethan received a pre-sent postcard, which contained a microdot hidden under the stamp. An IMF technician, Benji, has successfully recovered a bit of data from the laptop and learned that Davian was going to the Vatican to retrieve a mysterious object named Rabbit's Foot. Ethan decided to come up with a secret plan to capture Davian without the approval of his superiors. Before leaving, fearing that he would not be able to return, he organized a wedding with Julia right at the hospital. To infiltrate the Vatican, Ethan and his teammates continue using disguise tactics, and they have succeeded in kidnapping Davian. On the return flight, Ethan threatened to release Davian from the plane and at the same time questioned him about Rabbit's Foot, but Davian calmly refused to reveal any information and showed no fear of Ethan. After landing, Luther showed Ethan the decoded video from the microdot with the content that Lindsay suspected Brassel was working with Davian. At that moment, Davian's convoy was bombed, overturning the car carrying Ethan and Luther. Ethan was unable to stop Davian from escaping. Previously, Davian had threatened that after he got out he would find Julia, so Ethan quickly ran to her place but discovered that she had been kidnapped, and he even ran past the person who had taken her without even knowing it. Soon after, Davian contacted Ethan and gave him 48 hours to find Rabbit's Foot and give it to him in exchange for Julia's life. Before Ethan could do anything, he was arrested by the IMF for acting on his own and causing a lot of trouble. When interrogating Ethan, Musgrave joined Brassel and discreetly said he knew Julia was being held by Davian and revealed that Rabbit's Foot was in Shanghai. He also gives a knife so that Ethan can escape. Ethan was declared a traitor on Interpol's most wanted list. He disguised himself as a Czech, flew to Shanghai and met Declan, Jen and Luther. The 3 people were sent by Musgrave on another mission, but in fact, they were to help Ethan find the Rabbit's Foot. Ethan has continued to make viewers hold their breath as he continuously swings from building to building, successfully obtaining Rabbit's Foot and bringing it to the rendezvous with Davian. When he got into the car, they forced to put dynamite into his head like Lindsay had. After regaining consciousness, Ethan was tied to a chair and Davian was holding a gun to Julia's head. Although Ethan repeatedly claimed that he had handed the real Rabbit's Foot to Davian, but he still shot Julia and left. Musgrave appeared, revealing that he was the one who worked with Davian and betrayed the IMF. He also says that Julia is still alive and that the person who was shot was just Davian's guard, killed by Davian for failing to protect him at the Vatican. He decided to do so to confirm that the Rabbit's Foot that Ethan had delivered was real, and Musgrave also gave Ethan an option to save both him and Julia, which was to reveal the contents of the microdot that Lindsay sent. Ethan asked to confirm Julia was alive or not, so Musgrave called her and Ethan took advantage of his loophole to knock him unconscious and escape and arrive at Julia's location with Benji's help. Davian detonated the bomb in Ethan's head, causing him great pain. Before Davian could pick up a gun to shoot Julia, Ethan was able to drag him out onto the street and Davian was hit by a car. Ethan then returned to untie Julia, giving her the gun to defend herself. He then started making his own defibrillator to deactivate the detonator in his brain, electrocuting himself and then falling into cardiac arrest. Julia shot one of Davian's henchmen and ended Musgrave's life, and then used all her strength to perform CPR to make Ethan's heart work again. But Ethan finally woke up, took Rabbit's foot and left with Julia, and revealed to her about the dangerous work that his life had been associated with before. Brassel apologized for misunderstanding him earlier, and both he and the others congratulated Ethan when he decided to go on a honeymoon with his wife Julia.